Pecha Kucha 80, how to draw when you don't want to. So this week I kind of wanted to play a Dynasty Warriors game, couldn't figure out what to buy. Eventually I settled on One Piece Warriors 3 because there's not an awful lot of options on Steam, and I did want to see if it would be a good intro to One Piece, which I should read. And it's an excellent introduction to the cast. The main cast, a lot of the bad guys. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff glossed over, but the art style and the humor. And Omega Force did their thing, and as a Dynasty Warriors game, it's not that bad. But I mean, yeah, this is kind of the framework around which the rest of the weeks had to deal with. This was also the week I decided to finally start referencing Berserk page by page, seeing how close I could replicate them without going completely nuts. I just picked an arbitrary issue to start on. I think it's chapter 11 or something. I'm just page by page going to go through them, trying to use Manga Studio to get as close as I can. I am creating the panels using Manga Studio's panel creation stuff that I don't understand at all, but it's vector shape creation, and then it automatically creates masks. So that's what that blue stuff is on the right hand side. So yeah, my image on the right, the real page on the left. Third page, yeah, every panel is it's hard work. So in red I'm kind of denoting where the speech things are, and the idea is to do a basic sketch, a more concise sketch, and then I can do a separate layer for screen tones when I want to experiment with that. I'm not too worried about perfection, but I'm trying to get a good sense of what's actually going on. So I'm trying to not copy what I see, but try and construct it like I was drawing it. Yeah, that'll probably make more sense if I show me doing it. But the idea of doing underlaying construction lines instead of just trying to copy what I see based on the negative shapes. So yeah, and then after playing One Piece Warriors, I was kind of like, I don't really feel like drawing at all, period. But I didn't want to not draw anything, so I was kind of just forcing myself to just draw something. And I just used the darker pencil in Manga Studio, and kind of got through Homer, Optimus Prime, Batman, bit of Kenshiro, and this is about the time where I pulled out the lasso ink tool because I was getting sick of even bothering to do lines, and I was like, let's just draw in shapes, let's see what happens. It's a strange thing when you're kind of just, you got to do something, but you just don't really want to. So I had a little experiment with like almost memes, based on Jim Benton, just saying things that are funny, not worrying about the quality of the art. Yeah, I'm gonna get my Sonic t-shirts up, don't you worry about that. And yeah, then I kind of went back to the lasso inking tool, a couple of pictures of the Hulk, gestural stuff. Whatever kind of popped into my head, I just kind of fill a page and then be like, all right, I'm sick of this and I'm going to move on. And the brilliant thing about the lasso ink tool is it's so fast. So like, you'll be looking at these pictures for as long as it took for me to make them. So yeah, it's and this is about as long as I can tolerate actually trying to be bothered to do detail. So it was very much the kind of the big grand gestural stuff, and then yeah, then I started having some ideas, and like the one on the right is like a kind of a two-face thing. And I suppose, presumably, if I could have been bothered to put the effort in, I'd have made half of him white on a black background, like linked into the curves. But yeah, if I'm thinking that complicated, it's time to move on to the next one. And then I moved on to Metal Gear Solid because I was listening to a bit of the original Metal Gear Solid soundtrack because I like it. Harry Gregson Williams does great work, but the composers for the original game don't get enough credit. So by the time I got to this Liquid Snake picture on the left, I'd kind of got okay with drawing stuff again. But this Psycho Mantis on the right, which was just so like lazily constructed, it was still the kind of the underpinning psychology of the time. I'm just like, what, I see too much stuff that's too nice, and I don't even want to chase it. So yeah, the last daily sketch that's currently up from the Dragon Ball series, I did that as well. Still having issues with scaling things right. Gotenks' head is too small, and I think I'm not sure his legs are too big, but like his left leg should come out more on a diagonal. And I did a little thing with Zhou at Chirby, and I was just messing around with screen tones. I was trying to get a much stronger kind of lighting on his face, but like messing around with screen tones, I'm using layer properties that I don't understand. So they kind of changed on me, and then I was no longer able to edit what was going on. I was like, you know what, we're out. Yeah, Steamed Hams. Turns out Jeff Goldblum's done a dub of Skinner. So good, it's the gift that keeps on giving. So he's sitting there in the middle of some kind of interview for a movie, reading the script for Steamed Hams. It's as hilarious as it sounds. And something that came up this week, it's ironic. I was just thinking about the legacy of Kane and how it was a very interesting franchise that died just a quiet death. And then YouTube recommended the Soul Reaver intro to me again, which is one of the strongest narrative introductions to a game ever. And it turns out apparently there was a soft or hard reboot planned, and it got cancelled. And it's probably a good thing, because from this footage that I found on YouTube, it's kind of boring, which is a shame. Really, really suffers from some poor art direction. It just it's a shame, because it might have been something worth a look. Instead, it just looks like another Ubisoft game to forget. Not made by Ubisoft, ironically. Right, so am I going to actually bother doing the Smiley Show next week? We'll see. I'm kind of already over One Piece Warriors. It's not that I'm done playing it, but I've seen what there is to see, and now I can go into actually reading One Piece, the manga, with braced for hilarity. Right, so that brings us to the end of Pecha Kucha 80, and I'll see you next time.